views and opinions expressed in the course of this program do not represent that of WOTV. Therefore, this channel is not liable to any legal action that may result from this program.
Ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí, ẹ sì káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ọmọ Oòduà tó ń dé sójú ìwòran yín o láti iléeṣẹ́ ìkànnì WOTV. Òdu ni wá àwa kì í ṣàìmọ̀ fólókó. A tún ti dé o sórí ètò bá a ti ṣe máa ń dé. Tó ètò ọ̀hún ló wá balẹ̀ báyìí bí ọ̀wàrà òjò sójúde yín o. Àwa òmìnira bá wá pèrè fìdí àbẹ́ bá ń fìdí tí a pèrè mọ́lẹ̀. Kájọ kán lágbá mi ètò tòní nítorí pé ń dá mú afúra wa lórí ètò lónìí ó gbọgbọ́n. Kódà ó gbẹ̀ngbẹ́ ẹ jẹ́ ń pè ní ó gbẹ̀ngbẹ́ nítorí pé kàyéfì ọ̀rọ̀ kàbìtì la máa ń pè ní kàyéfì ọ̀rọ̀. Tó ẹ bá wá pèrè fìdí àbẹ́ bá ń fìdí tí a pèrè mọ́lẹ̀ ká kán lágbá mi ètò tọ̀hún ká máa bá kíní ọ̀hún bọ̀ bá a ti ṣe máa ń ṣe tá a máa ń kìbọnú ara wọn lẹ́lẹ́yọ̀ ẹ̀yọ̀ bó bá ti wá yá yín bó bá ti yégun ni o ṣe mọ̀ pé o ti yọrẹ́ àwa tá a wà ń bí náà àbá tẹ̀lé wá bí torí pé bàbá débi iṣẹ́ ṣíṣe náà là á ṣe ó ti wá yá ẹja jọ karabodò torí bá ní karabodò tán ká tó ṣe máa wá parọ́ bó tútù mú wá o ó ti yá bó bá ti yá yín ẹja jọ lọ.
Let's go.
Please keep moving. You can get down. Go.
Ṣé máa gbé báàgì ní wáyé àdúrà o?
Ẹ filẹ̀ fún mi.
Mami, ẹ máa ká wa. Ẹ kọ̀ tẹ ẹwọ́ wọn báyìí. Sọ ẹ lọ. Ìbò pípẹ́ fún wọ́n mọ ẹjọ́ ìdìbò mi sọ́nà.
Come back. Local government primary school. About 15 minutes after 9. Elections here have commenced. Local government primary school in Egbe-Idimu. What word is this? OO2. Okay, word OO2. Yeah, local government primary school Egbe-Idimu, word OO2.
Yusuf dúró náà wọ́n yìí ń ṣe nǹkan lọ.
You can go, it's okay.
Yellow yẹn ni wá fi yellow
sí yellow fi green sí green.
yellow mọ̀ ni. Wọ́n gbé ẹ̀kọ́ bí àti báyìí rẹ̀.
On the Lagos Island at the polling units where the governor of the state, Babajide Olusola Sanwo-Olu, will vote. You can see him on your screen right now. He's in the company of his wife, and I think he has been issued a ballot paper. Okay, so he will take the ballot paper and then come to this green table here to thumbprint the ballot paper and then drop into the ballot box there. It's a bit rowdy here at the moment, but we are trying to position ourselves to get a clear image of the governor and the first lady of the state. They are now coming to, you can see the green table there, that's where they will put the ballot paper to thumbprint before dropping it inside the ballot box that is not far away from where the table is positioned. There's a lot of crowd here. A lot of residents have trooped out to have a glimpse of the governor voting, and that's apart from his entourage that followed him from his house down to this polling unit at the moment. Don't forget that the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission, that's LASEC, had told us that a little bit above 7.6 million voters will be taking part in this exercise today. And but from what we have seen so far, since the exercise started 8 a.m., it is not certain that the final record will be anywhere close to that. But the process is still ongoing, and at the end of the day we'll be able to determine if indeed people will actually come out to participate in the process. You can see the governor putting on a vest cap there, thumbprinting his own ballot paper. The First Lady just thumbprinted a ballot paper to drop in that yellow ballot box over there. Okay, the governor is going to do the same right now. Okay, you can see a green ballot box as well as a yellow ballot box. One is for the chairmanship election, while the other is for the councillorship election. The two elections are taking place simultaneously. Okay, so here we are. The governor just voted. Yes, he just dropped his ballot papers and is coming to address the media any moment from now. Okay, photo ops. Okay, so we'll take our position to prepare for his address. He's going to speak with the media right now. So we'll follow him to the point where he will address the media. So the governor is there. So it's a bit rowdy here, and we are still expecting the governor to address members of the press. Okay, we are still waiting for him. Sorry. My tripod. Yeah. All right, so we are expecting the governor to approach the journalist here for a brief interview. He's coming right now, and it's a bit rowdy here, so we're trying to get the right position despite the crowd. All right, the governor is here.
All cameras down. Thomas. Now, wow.
So the governor is here.
My brother.
Let's get the mic closer to him.
You have voted. What's your assessment so far? You have voted.
Thank you very much, gentlemen of the press. Thank you.
What's your assessment?
As you can see, everything is okay here. Apart from the fact that it's a heavily populated area. So we're in Lagos Island. So all my people are here. Everything is going on well. The officers are.
Sorry.
So the exercise, we will commence the exercise now. We will check your voter's card, tally with your face and with your number. If you
government, right? And you can see that's what our democracy, and that's what our constitution stipulates. They are very independent, and they're very, and we've been advocating for their independence right from there, and that's why we're happy. And you can see that a lot of them, have projects, have deliverables that they are competing among themselves. So we're excited. We're truly excited, about that, and they are complementary. They all take, our team's agenda, the renewed hope agenda, and they run with it. They run with it even at their, at their local government LCDA level. Regarding LASMA being 25, I think it's remarkable for them. 25 years in the life of an institution, an enforcement institution that started at the beginning of this democracy. Coincidentally, it's the president that actually created it 25 years ago, and so what a time. LASMA, I would say, has earned his own space. The fear of LASMA, they say, is the beginning of wisdom. They have actually have their ups and downs, but I think more or less they've impacted positively in the society, and there have been several states that have copied the model of LASMA, and they're running at it very, very well. So I'm happy for them, and it's really about ensuring that they can do another 25 years stronger, better, and with more vigor. Just 2-3 days ago, I was with them with Federal Road Safety, and I was explaining why they need to all collaborate. I was explaining that, one of the things that you see in life is that as private sector people, as rich people, you can build your own school, you can build your own hospital, you can build your own cinema, but you really cannot build your own separate road. So because the road is now a place where all of us will meet, LASMA, Federal Road Safety, you and I, so we need to express commonality. We need to respect ourselves and ensure that road users all have a right on those roads, and so we need to understand and appreciate that we're not the only user. So the enforcement on it, the rules and regulations regarding it, I think is important, and that's why LASMA is there, and we'll continue to encourage them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Just hold on.
Okay, so we're back on air again.
Come back.
Right where you are.
Okay, all right, Omobolanle, we are in Lekki area of Lagos State, where if you can look behind me, you see a queue of voters, taking turns to, cast their ballot. So we've been to a couple of places today to monitor the procedures, and I can tell you that apart from this place and a couple of some other places, the turnout has not really been encouraging. Don't forget, I think I'm getting a feedback. So don't forget that more than 7 million people are registered to participate in this exercise. So we'll wait to see what comes out at the end of the day. If you're able to get anything close to 7 million voters that will participate in this exercise. And let me also tell you that in some places we have just 4 parties, the logo of 4 parties on the ballot papers, while in some other places we have just 3 political parties on the ballot paper. So it means that 4 parties are competing in some places, while 3 political parties are competing in other places. So it's been peaceful all around town, especially here in Lekki. You can see everything is orderly. The voters are taking turn to cast their ballots, and you have people still waiting outside, to come in later when there's space to join the queue and to also cast their ballots. Earlier, the governor voted at Adeniji at the area of the Lagos Island, and you listened to him. He spoke to us after voting in the company of his wife. So we'll wait to see how this pans out at the end of the day. Omobolanle.
Beyond party lines, are the electorate fully aware of who they are voting for? If you cast your mind back, election campaigns didn't really take off until a little over a week in some parts of Lagos. What are your thoughts on that?
Yes, the campaign actually started long before then, but the problem is that while the ruling party, had more time campaigning going around, town, the opposition parties, were practically almost unseen during the campaign. So it's a low-key election, if you ask me, because it's the activities heralding this particular election is unlike what we used to know in elections in this part of the world. And of course, talking about the electorate knowing who they vote for, there's no way we can determine that. You can see the table, the green table. I don't know if the cameraman can show you that. You can see the green table behind me. That is where people come to, thumbprint their ballot, and it's a secret place. You cannot determine if you cannot determine who they are thumbprinting for. So, but the mood in town shows that the people that came out are resolute, and they already made up their mind on who they want to vote for at the end of the day.
Right there behind you, Oba.
So let me speak. Okay.
Go ahead, please.
I want to speak with one of the party agents who is here with me, and to find out if this mood has been the same before we came here. Please come, sir. So tell us your name.
My name is Daria Albert.
Okay. So tell us, has this been the mood long before we came here, or everything just?
Yeah, LASEC, just people have been waiting for LASEC to come, but when LASEC came, they came like around 9 o'clock. And since they came, we started accreditation. After accreditation, we started voting, and it was very peaceful. All the agents of the parties were around, so we did not have any problem. It was a peaceful election, and I think it's okay.
I went to a couple of other places. Election did not start until around 9 or 10. When did the election start here?
Election started here around 9:30 because they came around 9. So for them to sit down, start setting up their things, it made them to 9:30 before we started voting.
All right, thank you so very much. So you listened to him that election here did not start until around 9:30 this morning. Despite that INEC, LASEC rather, announced earlier that election will start at 8 in the morning, but it started here around 9:30.
Adeoye, we will have to thank you very much for the special coverage and update you
Can you hear me?
On the elections. Yes, I can. Can you hear me? All right. Thank you so much, Oba, for bringing us those updates from Lekki on the local government elections taking place there. Now we shift gears on the special coverage on Lagos State Local Council polls. Joining us now is Arise News Chief Correspondent. The election materials got to many polling units quite late, especially in areas like Ifako-Ijaye. We also understand that in places like Ikosiketu, even the officials couldn't get to the polling unit on time because of lack of vehicles. Can you talk to us about that and the general overview from the places you've touched?
Well, thank you very much, Amabola, for joining us. Before we take you back to those polling units, we're here at Bega. If you know Lagos very well, you know Bega is the border area between Lagos and Ogun State. And what you see behind me here are lines of vehicles of people who are stranded. They're coming into Lagos and they're caught up in that restriction order of 6 a.m. to 3 p.m. So majority of them have been here since about 6 a.m. Some of them that I've spoken with, so they actually got here a few minutes before 6 and they couldn't move beyond this point. So what it means, if my camera can just pan to my right hand here, you could see some of them sitting down here. Majority of them are back in their vehicles, all waiting here until that 3 p.m. time when the road will be reopened to everybody to start moving about their normal business. When I spoke with some of them about whether they didn't hear, they were not aware of the order. Some of them said they were, but actually they were thinking they could beat that time. But unfortunately, here they are. They are unable to move until that 3 p.m. time. So going back to the election proper, that has brought all of us out and that has led, that has brought about this situation here in Bega. The general characteristic of the exercise today has been that of apathy. Majority of the polling units that we've been to, in fact, there was some that we got to and there was no voter at all. But somehow the good news at a polling unit at Alausa unit 022, were very close to where the president Bola Tinubu voted during the last general elections. There was a good number of people, voters who came out, but there was actually a snag earlier in the day. The voters that came out to actually be part of the exercise had to first be accredited, and they had to wait for the ballot papers because the officials came without the ballot papers, citing some kind of misinformation and all that. So they had to wait for it. Of course, they got in there at about 8:30. The officials, but the ballot papers could not arrive until about some minutes past 9. That was when the people that were already accredited, started to vote. So about 9:15 thereabout, the presiding officer, they actually declared the voting open, and people started participating in the exercise. There, they were expecting about 1,000 plus voters, but as at the time we left there, so about an hour after, maybe about 20 people had voted while some people were still on the line. But the situation was not the same at other polling units very, very close to that particular one. At another one not too far away, they were expecting almost 1,000 voters at that particular polling unit. Because at the time we got there, this was about 11:04 a.m. There were only 5 voters that had turned up to actually participate. So we moved on to another polling unit not too far away from there, to right in front of Royal Estate. The unit is called 327, thereabout. But the issue is that the register that was brought there by the LASEC officials actually contained only 4 names of voters, and voters that would normally vote at that particular unit. Some of them they became so agitated that one of them actually expressed his displeasure on what he found there. If we can take a listen to the gentleman, prospective voter, who was unable to vote at that particular unit and was so disappointed that he had to express himself with a little bit of anger. Before, let's just take a listen to him. If we can play that.
Just let me know that I'm just wasting my time. And why should I come next time to come and vote when all these things are happening? Why should I come? What is really encouraging the citizens of Nigeria to come out and vote? Nothing! I'm embarrassed! What kind of nonsense is that? How long can we continue like this? The entire election, you know how to go about it. It's not today. We have been planning for all these things for how long? And I should come to my polling unit, and now you are telling me that I should walk around to look for my name. For what? For what? When they say Nigeria not voting, not voting for what? What will I vote for? When I'm looking for my name in my polling unit. Imagine they are telling me that only 4 names are out in the polling unit. How come? How can that be? How would I send 4 names to a voting place, a voting unit? 4 names out of 250. In fact, Nigerians need to understand what people are doing. 4 names and you collect it to the place. 4 names. How is that possible?
An aggrieved voter there during these local government elections in Lagos. Tokunbo, if you can still hear me, hopefully you're still there. Now, you can't help but think this is reminiscent of the previous elections, the local government elections, regarding incidents of apathy and, of course, challenges such as the ones you've just highlighted. But let me ask you, now, critics have argued that the conduct of the elections may not be too transparent if handled by LASEC rather than INEC. I'd like your take on that scenario.
Well, before I go to that question, I mean, pardon, my glasses on. Not too friendly for my eyes, really. So that unit is actually Unit 112, in that same Ward F, right in front of Royal Estate in Alausa there. You see, the issue there was a mix-up with this, because originally that unit is 112, according to the INEC record. But from what I saw with the officials there, the number of the unit there is actually Unit 037. So, I mean, on LASEC's record, that unit is 037. On the record of INEC, which that voter that was expressing himself was used to, or is used to, that unit is supposed to be 112, and about 285 voters normally participate at that particular unit. So, I mean, that could have been responsible for the mix-up that actually happened there. And which is the issue in most of the polling units around that place, because I spoke with the supervising officers around there, who was equally helpless herself. She promised to actually escalate the matter to the higher authorities to see what can be done about those prospective voters who are stranded there. So going back to your question about whether LASEC could be transparent or not, I think it's just fair enough to actually give the commission, some benefits of the doubt, really. I mean, we can't. There is nothing that is pointing to the fact that they won't be fair to the parties involved here until this whole process is concluded. We don't have to jump to conclusion, to judge not they will be fair. Of course, the argument has been there and the debate has been there that whether it would be better for the National Electoral Commission to actually carry out local government election across Nigeria, not just in Lagos, across Nigeria. But that's a debate that is still unfolding. For now, the commission that the law recognizes is the State Electoral Commission, which is known as LASEC here in Lagos State. So let's just give them the opportunity to actually handle this whole situation. Because some of the officials that we spoke with actually said some of those lapses that were noticed are initial issues that as the day progresses, they will tackle and actually get passed.
Beautiful, Tokumbo. You know, earlier we spoke with Oba, who is in Lekki, and he told us about the voter apathy, which of course has been the trend when it comes to elections in Nigeria. Now, from the 7 million people, we know that there are over 20 million people in Lagos State and now 7 million people who are registered. What do you foresee, especially looking at the voter turnout, the fact that the election materials didn't get to the polling unit on time, and now these issues coming up, especially the one we just saw from that voter who complained about the issues with his polling unit? What do you foresee as an outcome? Do you think it would reflect the choice of the people? Tokumo, can you hear me? All right, we'll probably just leave it there and get more updates as the show goes on. That was Tokumbo Oyetunji Arising.
Come back.
I'm Mr. Arinze Alino, an APC agent.
An APC agent. Please, what polling unit is this?
004, Anifoshe Ikeja.
Ikeja, okay, that's nice. Please, what's the name of the current chairman and other part, the current chairman of the local government, and what party is he?
The current chairman is Engineer Majid Balogu, and he's an APC person too, but his term is just ending, and we're having a new person come on board.
Oh, good. What's the name of the new person coming on board?
Honorable Hakim Olaleko Daida.
Oh, is he someone that has the love of the people at heart?
There's no denying the fact that he's been at the grassroots. Like, I'm a party agent today. He has been party agent, he has been party supervisor, he has been LOC chairman. He has done so many things as a grassroots. So his coming is not like it's a new phenomenon. It's just somebody who has been known at the grassroots coming to take over the mantle of leadership. That's a challenging thing for us.
Okay, talking about the election, are things going as planned? Like everything you can see around, is it looking like today we are going to have a free and fair election, violence-free election?
Definitely. You can see the presence of security agents all over the place, and we believe there will be relative calm. More so, we've done the needful, the mobilization, the grassroots canvassing and everything, and we know it's not a do or die thing. So for us, we're expecting a free, fair and credible election.
So are there mechanisms in place already to ensure that vote of the people counts? What is the turnout like?
We're expecting a huge turnout of voters today, particularly in my ward, because the candidate of the APC is right from this ward. So every other place in Ikeja is also mobilized en masse so that we'll have a massive turnout at the end of the day.
Okay, that's great. So what's your confidence in the INEC personalities on ground? Are they doing their work right?
They've arrived, and we're expecting a cordial relationship with them as an agent that I am. And we hope they will do their best to make it look open, transparent enough for everyone to see, okay, this person won, and he won convincingly.
Development area. Speaking to one of the officers, it appears the transport provider was asked to provide a certain number of vehicles, which he claims he did, but the buses still weren't enough to transport all election officials. Last year, staff struggled to get into a bus. Some are hanging from the door of the bus. Some election officers have resorted to trekking to their polling stations. And one even said, they told us it's not far from here, so we can trek there. Well, what we mentioned earlier is this mild drama you're seeing here at the Ikosi Sherry LCDA, where presiding officers and election officials were unable to leave their stations because the vehicles provided for them were not enough. We spoke with one of the officers who said the transport provider seems to not have been able to provide a number of buses that were required. But even though he did, the vehicles are still not enough. And that's the reason for all of this struggle that you're seeing right now. Olu Phillips, our correspondent, is on standby at another location right now to give us an update on what's going on the streets of Lagos as the election proceeds. The local council development elections, the local council elections proceed. Olu Phillips, good morning. Where are you? Location. Olu Phillips is on standby. Olu, let's know where you are and what's going on right now.
Good morning. I think the safe place to start is to talk about the relief we have this morning. In the last 2-3 days and 1 week in Lagos, traffic has been very, very harrowing, and it has to do with the construction or reconstruction and maintenance on the bridge around Ogudu. So those who tried to get home yesterday, very late in the evening, midnight, 1 a.m., people were still in traffic on Ikorodu Road, on Oshodi axis, or Uroshoki axis. And so it's such a relief to see that Lagos can be this calm. We look forward to times like this as journalists, where you can actually drive and get to all your centers in one bit. But talking about what's happening here today, we've been to a couple of polling units today, and we've just seen, other than the officers, electoral officers and polling officers, we've not seen voters coming to either have their accreditation done or even voting, as it were. So we tried to figure out what's going on. We drove to the Ikeja local government secretariat, and we still noticed that materials are still yet to, some materials, especially the voting materials, are yet to leave the secretariat. We actually had pictures and videos captured of officers trying to leave, buses waiting to be loaded with officers and those who are, and the materials, sensitive materials, as it were. So that's the situation. Other than people having to stay back at home, activities around here under Ikeja Bridge where we are, those who are eating, those who are playing music, and I don't know if these are not voting age people, but we're not seeing that activity. Yeah, you can say it's a local government election, but politics is local, governance is local, development is local, so this is very critical. And if you take into consideration what the direction of government is, as it were, when it tries to do something around local government autonomy, perhaps this is the first local government elections that have been held after that Supreme Court judgment, giving very strong autonomy to the local government. So this should be a real test of what governance should be in terms of elective positions and those to be elected. And I should assume that citizens should actually pay more attention to these kind of elections. Ayo.
Well, that's a good play. In fact, that's what we've been discussing following that Supreme Court ruling. It was exactly 1 year since yesterday. But from what you can see, what kind of turnout are you observing, Olu? You talked about some people who are supposedly of voting age, and they don't seem to be voting right now. From what you can see and what you know in the build-up to this very election day, do you see any semblance of voter education or voter awareness of what is happening this morning?
Ayo, I don't know whose responsibility this is, other than the things we have tried to do here on Channels Television as a corporate organization, saddled with responsibility of informing people daily through our live programs, through sunrise programs, Morning Brave, Politics Today in the evening, News at 10 flagship, telling people what to know, how to know what to know, what to do, at what time. But when it comes to this issue around election, I don't understand why we kind of continue to see a lull and apathy on the part of those who actually should be making the change through their voter card. I don't know when that miracle is going to happen. They put in the says in the 18. I'm just going to flip the camera around so you see what we're talking about. So right behind me, you see a lot of activities. These are adults who are supposed to change the livelihood, the developmental structure of the country, participate in it, and be a part of it by a civic responsibility of just coming out for a few hours, make your vote count, cast it, and wait for the results. So at the end of the day, it seems like elections are just left into the hands of those who have clearly indicated to be party members. When it is not a party member affair, or if you're not affiliated to any party, we struggle to see people who pay attention to things like this. It's a worry. It's a worry for me.
Well, it's a huge concern for everyone all over the nation, and let's just hope that at some point, all of us would realize that if we don't do our best, if we don't do our bit, that popular saying, that the worst of us will continue to lead, the best of us will continue. Thank you so much, Olu, for your reporting, and I know that you're still all about town. we'll wait to hear more from you shortly. Yeah. All right. Well, let me come back to you, gentlemen, in our Abuja studio. Our trying to get a feel. So, on the one hand, the federal government won a case in the Supreme Court for the benefit of the people. On the other hand, is the drama you have just heard about. Some kind of juxtaposition here?
Yes, you are right. It's a global challenge. Increasingly, the percentage of people who belong to political parties is decreasing across the world. And the level of participation of citizens and the influence that they wield within the political arena is also decreasing across the world. That is why we talk about the concept of elite capture of the state. And in Nigeria, it is particularly worrying and disturbing because of the trend in elections, particularly in local government elections. What we have seen, Lagos State is having local government election today. In the 2023 elections, there were some political parties that in some of the elections had more votes than APC. But the normal thing we are going to see is that APC, because it's the government in power in Lagos State, is going to declare all the local government chairmen as APC candidate, all the councillors as APC candidate. And this is the pattern across the country. Okay. In Delta State, before the defection of the APC leaders PDP leaders to APC, when they conduct elections, even when the gubernatorial election, they declared elections, the declared result, we had about 60% for the gubernatorial election. We had 60%.
Dr. Guzo, at least let the people come out and vote. Maybe if the people came out to vote, my apologies if you can hear me. Maybe if the people came out to vote, the voice of the people will be too loud for anyone to deny. But with closing moments, as I said, Mr. Mutu, let me have you respond to this one very quickly. Kingsley Ogwuanyi is writing in and he says, I've been listening to your program on the local government autonomy. My take remains that as long as our judiciary depends on the political system rather than being independent institutions, implementation of most judgments will continue to be a political thing. If it doesn't benefit the political system, then it won't be implemented or obeyed. Kingsley believes that the judicial system is flawed completely and no hope for the common man anymore. I know you don't agree with him, but your final take on that one. Mr. Mutu, that's for you.
Okay, maybe just to quickly frame 4 quick issues, not necessarily focus on that alone. Number 1, responding to the issue of the National Assembly amending the Constitution. I'm aware, and because maybe I'm privileged to be part of that process, currently if you had attended the public hearing, you will see that one of the bills rightly announced before the National Assembly that was presented to the public is the Local Government Autonomy Bill, which seeks to amend the Constitution to reflect the spirit and letters of the Supreme Court judgment. So hopefully, by the time this process goes through, if the state assemblies vote in favor of it, then they will be able to amend that, especially abolishing JAC. The second issue that is of no doubt is that there has been this question whether Nigeria operates a 2-tier of government or a 3-tier of government. Do we have in our federal system, is it 2 tiers or 3 tiers? The Supreme Court judgment is clear on that we have 3 tiers of government, federal, state, and local government. So if we have 3 tiers of government, then all the tiers must be empowered to so act, with each of them with their clearly defined functions and mandates. And it's based on that the judgment says, let the fundings, payments, local government money should be paid directly to them. Just like the federal government gets its own share from the federation account, the state government gets its own share from and local government should also get their own directly. I think that is the idea. Number 3, for me, is also to mention that Mr. President has a responsibility to ensure that the confidence of the people on the judiciary, the sanctity of the judiciary is restored. And this is an urgent call. If people lose faith in the justice system, then people will begin to resort to self-help. Why do I need to go to court? So in Nigeria, especially in the electoral system, what everybody now start doing is win by all means, let's meet in court. If you don't like, go to court. It's because people have lost faith in the judicial system. So the president has a responsibility to make sure that the rule of law prevails. Then the sanctity of the Constitution is also important. The Constitution, as amended, says that financial autonomy provides for the financial autonomy of the state houses of assembly and that of the judiciary. This was done as far back as the 9th Assembly. 4 years down the line, the state governments have refused to implement financial autonomy for state house of assembly, have refused to release the monies meant for state house of assembly directly to them. The same thing is happening with the local government. If we allow this trend to continue, it will not augur well for our democracy. And the second to the last one I want to mention is a call on our governors. You are leaders of our country. Serve you better than what the failed system that we have currently. Most of the pressures, the crimes perpetrated in the state headquarters is by people who move from the rural areas. The rural-urban migration we are currently seeing is it has a direct correlation with the failure of governance at the local government level. Instead of going to the local government headquarters, everybody is now going to the state capital. It brings pressure on the infrastructure at the state level and also breeds crime in the state. Let there be a decentralization of activities, governance activities. Let all the local government be functional, and it will reduce pressure on the state government. And lastly, to the judiciary. They said the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. The judiciary really needs to rise to the occasion. Nigerians are losing faith in you fast. You must be clear on your judgment. If you say A, let your A be A. Don't allow judgment to be misinterpreted. Imagine the judgment that the Federal High Court judgment on the Natasha case. I was reading that judgment yesterday, and I heard a judge saying that I think, I believe. So what is the judgment? And that is why the National Assembly was saying we were waiting for the, what do they call it?
The CTC.
The CTC, because we want to really understand. When I looked at the CTC, I said, is this the judgment? Your judgment is supposed to be declaratory and not leaving room for people to apply their own That is why all the judgment across the country, you hear the judgment is given, every party will now be interpreting it to mean different things. There is a need for the Attorney General, Mr. President, and the judiciary to sit down to quickly arrest this situation before we get to the precipice.
Well, gentlemen, it's should I call it another conversation starter? Because it's an endless one. Well, I have to thank you, gentlemen, for being here this morning. John Mutu is Executive Director, African Parliamentary Resource Center, as well as Dr. Ochive Igbuzo, who is Executive Director, African Center for Leadership, Strategy and Development, called Center LSD. Gentlemen, we appreciate your time this morning. A focus on the local government elections in Lagos when we return from this break. Let me begin before I bring in our guests. Ogbeni Tosin's message to us says, I can't go out to vote because I vote in Alausa, but I've just relocated to my house in Okwebi. There are movement restrictions, and I'm worried about how to drive to my polling unit to cast my vote with police everywhere. A lot of people are in these same shoes. Well, That's one of the issues to discuss this morning with three gentlemen joining us here. Dr. Wahab Shitu is a senior advocate of Nigeria. I'm very happy to call you Dr. Wahab Shitu this morning.
Thank you so much.
And congratulations, that's a worthy cause.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us this morning. Mr. Is it Dr. Ayo Adebusuyi as well? I never really can tell because...
Simply Mr.
He also joins us this morning. He is the chairman, Lagos Civil Society Participation for Development, LACSOP. Thank you for joining us this morning. And we also have with us here Comrade Razak Olokoba, who is co-convener Committee for the Defense of People's Mandate. Thank you for joining us. Good morning. But before we begin this conversation, gentlemen, there's a report from correspondent Titi Layo.
Voting has fully commenced at St. Stephen Nursery and Primary School, Adenija Adele, Lagos Highland East. Within this premises, we have two different wards, Ward 006 and Ward 007. Ward 006 has 634 registered voters, including the Lagos State Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu, who will also be casting his vote here, but is yet to arrive. While 667 registered voters, and a lot of them are beginning to turn out just to cast their vote for their preferred choice of candidates. The Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission had earlier said that only 15 political parties will be participating in this local government election and local council development areas election. And LISEC also said that 13,325 polling units have been created across the state for residents to easily walk into their registered polling units to cast their votes at their place of residence. That's all we have for now from Lagos Highland. Titilayo Aberowo, Channels Television News.
Certainly more of that is to come in the course of time. Thank you so much for that report, Titilayo Aberowo. But just to also let you know about the Ikosi Sherry LCDA drama that we experienced earlier. Presiding officers and election officials were unable to leave for their stations because of inadequate number of vehicles to transport them. Let's hope that that is also being resolved as we speak. And this, of course, is the Ikosi Ketu, issue that we talked about earlier. Last year's staff struggled to get into the inadequate number of buses available. Some were seen hanging from the door of the bus. Some election officials resorted to trekking to their polling stations, claiming that they told them that it's not far, so we could trek there. Anyway, gentlemen, let's begin this conversation. Dr. Shitu, let me begin with you. Your assessment of this whole process, particularly in Lagos. This drama in the LCDA, the Ikosi Sherry LCDA, is one that someone would say, wait a minute, what's happening here? Inadequate number of vehicles, even though the vendor provided the number of buses he was told to provide, those vehicles were not enough.
In terms of logistics, can you repeat the question?
Clearly, of course, it's a logistic issue.
It's a logistic issue. Well, it boils down to the quality of preparations and awareness for this very, very important election. In my view, the local government election is very, very critical and central to a democratic process, because the quality of those who are elected will determine the quality of healthcare, the quality of human capital development, the quality of rural development, and all kinds of developmental indices. So that as such, there should be, enough preparations, not only from the level of those who are in charge of conduct of the elections, but also by the people in terms of sensitization and political education. So I want to say that if we begin to witness this kind of hiccups, these elections, the decision to conduct this election was not decided today. there were enough time, to ensure and deliver on quality preparations, and then ensure that everything is put in place. Now, when we have these kind of hiccups on the election day, it exposes us as people who are not really prepared for the democratic process. And if we are not prepared, and then what kind of signals are we sending to the rest of the world? I think we should begin to take our electoral process very, very seriously.
Let me thank you so much, sir. Let me ask you, Mr. Adebusoye, the sentiment of Ogbeni Tosin. The mail that I read before we started this conversation the other time says, which said he couldn't vote because the distance between his home and his polling unit is a little significant, and with restriction on movements, he can't drive to the place. And I also recall that a good number of times people have been told in the build-up to general elections that we should, as much as possible, try to register to the closest polling unit to our place of residence.
It's easier said than done, and I think especially in Lagos, where the reality of it is that during the times when you're doing the registration process, most people are at work, so a lot of times that's where you just go and do the registration, and because by the time you get back home, it's already in the evening, so I think it's one of those things where the whole electoral process, not just at the local government, even the federal, the same thing, especially in cities like Lagos, especially where persons are living very far away. In fact, some people may even be living in Ogun State, some are living somewhere else. And then when you now shut everything down and nobody can move, which is an aberration. Somehow we have to outgrow this thing of shutting everything down because we are doing elections. Even getting here to the studio, we have to pass through so many challenges to get here. So I think it's one of those things that both at the federal and state and local government elections, that has to be looked into. The fact that your card, you should be able to use it. Once you have your card, you should be able to. It should be easily transferable. But this issue of closing down, the whole state is the challenge, because then how do you move out? You can't even move as long as it's not within walking distance. You can't move.
Well, we'll come to that, because it perhaps borders on the issues that people have had with politicians over time. Comrade, you might want to speak to that in the light of this message from Olani Ogudikpe, who says, "My brothers, the autonomy granted local governments by Supreme Court, has it been implemented? If not, who's making sure the government is being implemented? I decided never to vote in this country again because I can't be suffering to cast a vote for someone who will never make any impact in my life, but rather make significant change in his life to become a rich man while I remain a struggling poor guy. Tell me one thing Nigerians are benefiting as a citizen of this country. They always say, think of what you can do for your country. Is it a sacrilege for the country to also make life of her citizens better?" And this is where the catch is. With our present set of politicians, I will never waste time to go and vote to make a poor politician become a rich politician overnight with my votes.
There are so many things that he has summarized there, and we'll try to explain it in summary too. About voting, you are not hurting any political class if you didn't vote. And you are not making the life of anybody better if you vote. You see, it's an umbilical cord. What brings good governance is good democracy. And what brings good democracy is the quality of political parties. If the political parties are not in order, your democracy will not be healthy, and they can't be good governance. So if it's thinking in the direction of someone who have access to state fund only, that means the whole concept of election, we are getting it wrong in Nigeria. For the autonomy, I said before the program that local government is a component part of the state. Autonomy is an aberration, and we are going to come back to it too. Mr. President was part of us when we were advocating for devolution of power. So we didn't know where this one is coming from. Are you saying that we have assigned 774 local government to the portfolio of Mr. President. When we are all even saying that you should devolve power on security, on power sector, on resource control. So we have learned lessons over the time. For 36 years of my life, I've been doing this advocacy since 1989. We have adopted a model now that if you want to make a mistake as a country, okay, let's make it. But we'll come back to this after 10 years to say that we were wrong. But it's not good to be experimenting with our life. The rest of the world have gone. We know. They say the earth is too contaminated. Maybe they are moving to the space. So we are still battling with the issue of structure of a country. And the structure of a country is determined not by your own opinion or by mine. Read carefully our forefathers. The decision that led them to say that the center should not be strong. It's not a personal opinion. It's a peculiar structure that can make our country move forward. So the model on ground is not for us. So when someone says that I think region, don't think. If you are short, it's not an opinion. It's an expert that you are tall. You are short. You are tall or short. Medical opinion is not your opinion. So political scientists have expressed this view over. Lawyers will argue it. Accountants will argue it. Economists will argue it. You say, no, you can't be arguing what is a peculiarity. It's a United Kingdom. A nation that is a United Kingdom like Britain don't operate a system where instruction is given only by one man, which is the case with us here in Nigeria.
Which, in what way?
The power is concentrated.
How?
On security. The box thought on the table of Mr. President. It decides everything. Appointment of commissioners.
In the 70s,
states should be assigned responsibilities.
Mr. Lokoba,
yes, sir.
Honorable Comrade, in the 70s, did we have state police?
And that's where you didn't notice the crack you've been witnessing. You didn't notice it. That from the 70s.
We have
in the 70s? Yes. There's a crack coming towards the direction of insecurity. Since the 70s. In fact, immediately we dismantled.
The local governments were very, very active.
They were active, but were deficiencies. The deficiencies were showing gradually.
What were the deficiencies?
In 1966 was the beginning of the crack when power was taken away from component part of the state, the regions. We are not talking about regions, we are talking about devolution of power to component part. It may be state, it may be region.
But isn't that what the local governments, the Supreme Court judgment is supposed to
Supreme Court cannot change our constitution. What kind of country are we? Laws are not changed in the court.
Okay.
Laws are changed by the people.
At what point are you aware, just a second, at what point are you ever aware that the state government of any state in Nigeria called the local government chairman to a meeting and say, let's talk about economic development of our state?
They do that often in the state. They do that often.
I've never had it reported.
Let me not tell you this.
I've been in this business as long as you have been in civil advocacy. I'm
a chartered local and public administrator.
Okay.
I've read reports, I've read theses about this matter day in, day out. On my daily basis, my life. Political structure of this country is my life. In the first instance, resources of a state should not be determined by the federal government. And that's what we are talking about. There should be a resource control. Then each state should then decide
anyway,
how many local governments.
We're going outside the remit of this.
Let me say this.
We'll come back,
the local government will determine that how many local governments.
We'll come back to that, Mr. Lokoba. Well, Dr. Shitu, I'm trying. I don't want to make a carry us go where we don't know this morning. But there is a disturbing trend, Dr. Shitu, and that's what I'd like you to speak to. Whenever we have local government elections in Nigeria, it's the most poorly patronized. The presidential elections, the highest. State government elections come second in terms of patronage of the people, and local government elections poorest. If the federal elections, national elections, attracted 26%, state government elections attracted less. And actually, local government elections attracted even less than that. In 2011, I understand only 11% of voters in Lagos turned out. No, is it 2011 or 2021? Only about 11% of the voter population in Lagos turned out to vote. What do you think is responsible for that low voter turnout, particularly for local government elections? INEC has also, expressed.
Generally, I think my colleague mentioned it. Yes, general voters apathy, and I think it's something that should be worrisome to you and I, to everybody. the local government system, I beg to just disagree with my friend.
Did you want to say unlearned colleague?
No, Leonard is a versatile commentator. I have a lot of respect for him. But what I'm saying is that if you look at our constitutional framework, Section 7 of the Constitution is clear. The system of local government is constitutionally guaranteed. The Constitution itself recognizes that tier of government, the local government system. And you mentioned that there's general voters, but people don't turn out. I think people don't turn out because they don't feel the effect of government. When people go out to vote, in return for that vote, they expect some measure of benefits in terms of healthcare delivery, in terms of quality of education, in terms of rural development, in terms of the quality of infrastructure, so that it will transform their lives. But they have not seen this kind of development over the years. And I think that narrative must change. And I blame the leadership. I also blame the followership. Because in my view, there appears to be lack of sufficient political education. And that's the area those in charge of elections must focus on. It is when we talk of election management and conduct of elections, and then generally, it is not just about conducting elections. When we are not conducting elections, what is our INEC doing? At the various state levels, the independent electoral commissions at the various state levels, what are they doing? They should be busy with political education. They should be busy with about sensitization of the populace to recognize that as a voter, the strength you have lies in your voter's card. That is the power you have to vote for people that you can trust to deliver democracy dividends to you. So when you decide to abandon voting, you are doing a lot of disservice to yourself. Then you have to contend with whoever is elected as a representative because you decide to sit down look. People must be encouraged to come out, to exercise their franchise, to vote for people of their choice. Because at the local government level, a lot is happening. Most of the development that we have is local. If you are talking of improved healthcare delivery system, it is in the local government. Healthcare delivery system, local government. If you are talking of rural development, you remember the late Obafemi Awolowo has 4 cardinal programs. And those four central to that is this rural development program. So if you want development at the level of your local government area, where most of us live, then you must come out to vote.
There is no part of Nigeria that is not under a local government.
Yes.
Even the governor's office is under a local government.
And let me just come to the local government autonomy that we're talking about. Because even by the Constitution, the funds belonging to local government are supposed to be assessed by local government directly. So what do we have before this latest Supreme Court government judgment? And I think the Supreme Court ought to be commended for giving effect to the clear provisions of the Constitution. If you don't want the local government structure to be entrenched in the Constitution, then you amend the Constitution.
And remove it.
It's there already. As part of every country is entitled to design the kind of constitutional framework that will be suitable for its peculiarities. You understand me? So we have said funds belonging to local all to be assessed by local government councils. But what do we see before happening? These funds are paid to the state governments. And then most of those who are elected at various local government are cronies of state governments. So what happens is that they ask you, come and sign for 50 million. And you sign for 50 million, whereas what comes to you at the end of the day is even less than 5 million. And then,
meanwhile, you are entitled to 5 billion.
Yeah, 5 billion. So, really, the people are sustained. Okay. But right now, with funds coming to the local government directly, you and I can monitor the process. You can then hold even the local government chairman accountable if they embezzle these funds.
But the challenge is, Dr. Shitu, before I go, just a second.
I know he wants to disagree with me.
Over the past 1 year,
yes,
this that you're talking about is not the reality people are expecting. That was the first conversation we had on the program this morning. The local government, the autonomy issue, excuse me, is still being applied in breach of the constitution, of the ruling of the Supreme Court.
The fault cannot be placed at the doorstep of the judiciary. The judiciary has done its job. The Supreme Court justices have, made profound pronouncement that pay. You don't expect the Supreme Court justices or the judiciary to come and enforce.
So who should be enforcing? You're a senior advocate.
It's the executives who enforce.
Executive being
true is much. They are clear. We have 3 tiers of government. The lawmaking body is the legislature. And the body to interpret the our laws is the judiciary. And the body to enforce our law is the executive. So if the political class decides to make a mockery of the judiciary, it is at their collective peril. You understand me? We have some of one of the best judiciary in the entire wide world, this country, in terms of human resource capacity, in terms of brains that litter all our judiciaries. And they are doing their job. That pronouncement made by the Supreme Court is revolutionary and unprecedented, giving effect to our constitutional provisions. So you expect the judges to come and enforce it?
Okay.
Now, if that is not enforced, the judiciary themselves will not be the one to say, oh, they will cite anybody for contempt. There must be applications brought to the courts to identify those who are breaching those provisions. And nobody should be above the law, except if you want this country to run, then we must enthrone a democracy governed by the rule of law.
Okay.
Not a democracy governed by the rule of the judge.
Okay. Well, just so we stay on the conversation, Mr. Adebusoye, let me come to you. Still on this issue, perhaps the challenge of accountability is something that also worries people, especially on a day that we're having elections into local government administration. 57 local government administrations in Lagos and more than 500 councillors, with 15 political parties contesting. Over the past 1 year, from the Federation account, about 4.5 trillion naira has gone to local governments alone. At least by if we divide by the way it ought to be, 4.5 trillion naira ought to have gone straight to the local government administrations, but hardly has that happened from what we are hearing from civil society organizations such as yourself. In that wise, wouldn't that also be one of the reasons that people are apathetic? Well, that's one of the things that one of the people responded to.
Yeah. There is a disconnect right now between the citizens, governed, and those who are being governed. And once that is there's that sit-down look. Meanwhile, that's why over the years we've always been telling people, you serve my government. When we talk of this governor, that person, everybody is part of the government. It's a civilian regime, and everybody can be elected. And right now, the challenge now, that apathy is developing to the extent, especially at the local government level, which is, as Leonard mentioned, actually the one that actually is directly concerning me and you. We're all concerned about what's happening in Abuja, but our day-to-day lives are more affected by what happens at the local government level. We're talking about the refuse, the sanitation. This is a direct constitutional provision of a responsibility of the local government. And in Lagos, we've seen over the last few years, unfortunately, how, they've dropped the ball. And why? Because they're still waiting for that state oversight to do what the local government should do. Everywhere we see all over the place on the streets, refuse everywhere. This local government, we're talking about basic healthcare, primary healthcare. That's the local government.
But perhaps, my apologies, Mr. Ruzik, perhaps one of the challenges here is the Nigerian, most of them, I still go back to refer to that mail. I forgot, his name right now. I'll go back to look at it. It says, look, I'm not even sure who I'm going to vote for. And so it also begs the question of the selection of the people to vote for, because if you are CEO and I have to employ someone to supervise me as a CEO, because that's essentially what it is. The local councillor, the councillor in my area, is like, well, even though he's supposed to be my employee, in a way, he's my boss, because he will make some policy somewhere that will affect my business and all of that. So doesn't it also beg the question of the quality of people that are fielded by the political parties? I think that's what Dr. Shuti is speaking to, that the kind of people that are fielded is something that should concern.
Yeah, but our people are disconnected. That's the main thing. Right now, we feel it's their business. And many of us feel, it's the politics is a dirty business, etc. Meanwhile, like you said, that affects our day-to-day lives. And we have a situation where, unfortunately, the political class have even made it more interesting, because they make you feel that your votes don't count. When we have a situation where there's no internal party democracy across the board, and so even for people to even enter, normally, it's a whole process which most people are not even ready to. We have so many qualified persons in Nigeria, in Lagos, who could manage things properly. But we have this scenario, this system we've inherited, where it's like Kabbalistic, to use that, a cabal within certain parties, and it's not just the ruling party. Even the opposition are not free from the same challenges we face, and we see it everywhere. So it's a mindset, and unfortunately, again, because of that disconnect from 1966, where military came in, we have not had that culture, the tradition of having strong political parties, like you see South Africa, the ANC, that has been there 100 years plus. So, I mean, a president cannot just do anything, the parties can control. Here, we don't have that. And so, because of that lack of internal party democracy, many things that should not happen are happening. And everybody now just looks back, because we feel whatever we the electorate, it doesn't really matter. And that thing must stop. Education is key, political education. Anyway, National Orientation Agency, they are in 774 local governments. This is what they should be doing, in collaboration with INEC and the state electoral officer. Of course, they say they don't have big budgets. This is where there has to be budget, because people don't really know what the local governments are doing. They don't know. And once they don't know, there's that disconnect and they all focus on Abuja, what Tinubu is doing.
Okay. Comrade, my question to you is whether or not you think that the economic hardship on voters' decision to participate or disengage from the electoral process is significant.
I think we have to talk more to the political parties and the people. In the instance of our party now, in my intro, I said the ingredient of good governance, central to it is the way we run our democracy. And the quality of your democracy is determined by how you run your political parties. People are central to all this, the government, democracy, and the political parties. We have over I don't want to use language that will appear as if I'm not on the side of the people. But we have over pamper the role the people should be playing in all of this. In Lagos, it would be fair to say that the generalization that local government are not doing well, I think we should set Lagos aside on that in terms of performance. We've gone around. We've seen, may not be all of them, we've seen that in Lagos there are performance by local government chairmen. There are some of them that did very well. In fact, there are institutions that I see today in Lagos that I thought were federal structures. But I discovered that it was a state institution. So for voters apathy, we need to change our style. The decline is all over the world. But we can't wait for the rest of the world to take certain initiatives before we start following them. But there must be tacit coercion and tacit inducement for people to come out to vote.
But it's the issue of
it's not perfect. No, sir.
He talked about political education. And the reason I am referring to that is it's something that we have I discussed on this station almost every day.
Almost every day.
The issue
so what do we need
remains...
today? What do we need today to tell people to come out to vote? Other than the fact that the attitude of not realizing the fact that if our country is not better, it's a shared responsibility and a shared blame. People who vote, and the people that came out to vote, in fact, the people, the elite who don't vote are the people who are more critical about the administration. So it's time we start introducing some level of tacit inducement and tacit coercion. Coercion in the sense, so let me define it. Coercion in the sense that there are certain access to government things that there must be an evidence that you are part of the civic responsibility to bring this government to power, either opposition or part of the people that get the incumbent there. There should be that establishment by INEC. And we have discussed it with INEC that see the part that leads to election in this country resides with you. So to that extent, it is important to also focus on not only political parties, the government, but also the people. We need to engage the government institution in such a way that people will know that it has implications if I don't vote.
Okay.
People will know that there's an advantage if I don't vote. Then the judiciary, our institutions, we have to be fair to them. They operate under a very difficult condition. And we must learn to build a barricade around them. We must learn to prevent other layers of government from infecting them. The judiciary in this country is operating from a very, very difficult terrain. So I agree with my friend Shitu that it's a courageous move. What you take to the court is what court bases judgment on. But we can't be taking certain things to the judiciary again, to the court again, to decide the political structure of this country. In fact, you are abusing the court by taking the matter to them. It's a structural thing.
Well, that's it. You already said it's a global issue. But so let's take.
No, you're talking about apathy.
Yes.
Apathy is a global issue.
Yes.
So to wrap up what you are saying, you see, everyone must know right now that our prosperity is tied to our vote.
Okay.
And if we don't vote, we do not have that moral right after this election to say that. Who are these people?
Okay.
It's not even fair in Lagos.
Dr. Shitu,
in Lagos.
Yes, the something that he mentioned, and I think you would like to speak to. I think you made a veiled reference to it earlier. The elite class. There are many watching us right now who have never voted. Oh, they have voter cards, but they have never voted. And we drive on the streets of Lagos, and we're saying, oh, this part of Lagos is bad, that part of Lagos is bad. But then when it is time for elections, we're in our rooms looking at the drama on TV. What should we be saying to the elite today? This says 10:56. The polling booths don't close until another 4 hours.
Now the question in direct reference to the elite, which includes all of us here,
I don't know about that.
When you are talking of the elite, either in terms of political elite, in terms of economic elite, or social elite, they are the privileged class class of the society who have access to education, who have access to resources, who are presumed to know. So if you know, then you must use the benefit of your knowledge to empower the society. For instance, if there is any group of people who should take the lead in terms of exercising their civic responsibility, it should be the elite. The elite have the resources, they have the knowledge, They have the awareness. And they should know that a country gets the leadership it deserves. You know, if you allow the terrain, like my friend mentioned, if you disengage yourself from the process, then you allow all kinds of charlatans to take over. And then when they don't take over, then you have nobody to blame other than yourselves. I think there must be attitudinal change in mindset. And then the elite must also be in the forefront of leading the crusade for political education, leading the crusade for sensitization, using the benefits of their knowledge to empower the society. Because, for instance, if you say you don't want to take part in the process, and you are watching just the things go wrong, posterity will not exonerate us from blame. That's part of the political education. The elites have the benefit of education. What are they doing with it? They have the benefit of resources. What are they doing with it? They know things are going wrong. So, but I think to be able to encourage the elite, the system itself has to be designed. First of all, because a lot of things is happening now that can discourage some people from coming out. One, the political process is heavily monetized. Heavily monetized. So you must be very educated. You must have a lot of ideas to donate to move the society forward. But if they say, to pick even a nomination form to run for the presidency, 100 million. And that if you want to even say you want to be a governor in a state, they say the list you have is about 5 or 10 billion to put down. That is not how civilized societies are run. You don't monetize everything. Again, the issue of political thuggery and political violence. And then when you institutionalize violence, this kill and go democracy that we operate, that your strength depends. A lot of people go around with talks, because in the name of capturing political power. So we should rethink the process. Okay. So that the elites, some of them some people are so gentlemen, distinguished gentlemen and women, they won't come out if what you are brandishing all over the place is AK-47. It's not democracy of AK-47 that will encourage. Absolutely. They need to come out. I think we need to rethink the entire process so that people can come out, because the future of this country depends on all of us. Absolutely. And we cannot afford to sit down and look while our country is on a ground.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a short break. When we return, it will be our closing moments. Just stay with us.
They are still at the LGA, local government there. And actually, I can't say the reason why they are not here yet. So,
and it's after 8 now.
It is after 8.
And the election.
You can see all the agents. The election laws have been taken. Exactly. So we don't know what is happening. We don't know what is happening. Find out INEC, the officials, they are still at their jail over there.
Which unit, your polling unit is this?
This 012. 012, yeah. All the local councillors,
600, no, more than 600 jobs at the local council levels in Lagos.
Yes, thank you. Header Resource Center, we conducted a survey, or we call leadership approval rating. This is the fifth in the series. This time around, we decided to focus on the state independent electoral commissions because of their strategic importance to helping to select leaders at the local government level, which is the most critical arm of government, for the citizens of this country. The findings from the field, however, is that there's so much distrust and mistrust about the conduct of state independent electoral commission. Many are of the opinion that independence should be. Unfortunately, some are even advocating that INEC should be mandated to take over the responsibility of state independent electoral commissions. And it's not just people on the street who are saying this. Some analysts, some political elites are also of this opinion. And this is coming from the frustration where you see that for every state in Nigeria, for the 36 states, the ruling party in the state always carry the day, no matter how popular or unpopular they are in the state. They win all the local government chairmanship seats and all the councillorship. This is not acceptable to people. However, that notwithstanding, some of us will not advocate that INEC be allowed, to come and conduct local government election, because it's just as if we are not progressing, we are not moving forward. That is not so. From the approval rating, people are actually quite skeptical about the potential outcome of this election. And the integrity of elections conducted by various state independent electoral commissions. And because of that, they are also not confident that they can get governance at the local government level. And if people continue not to get basic social services from their local government, they will continue to have misgivings about the country. No matter how much effort is put at the national level, if it does not translate into real action at state and local government level, then it's not going to impact on citizens.
But how will this make any difference, Mr. Arigbabu, given that even in the build-up to this election we are talking about, I only noticed in most cases, one political party on the streets. And I think at the very least, I must have been to 5 to 10 local government areas in this state in the build-up to this election of today. And I only saw one. In most cases, if you see any other, it will just be pockets of posters here and there that are hardly visible. So would we blame the State Independent Electoral Commission for that, or even the political parties themselves?
So yes, the political parties have a lot of role to play in this, but the state independent electoral commissions need to show that they are not appendages of the ruling parties in their state. They need to show some independence.
How do you expect them to do that?
This is not about others actually not turning up. I am on the field right now. I've been going around. My colleagues are in various other local government. The political parties are contesting for this election. What LASEC needs to do is to show that there is fairness. And I can tell you that the problem goes beyond LASEC. It's a whole of society issue. As Nigerians, we need to determine what kind of electoral system we want to have at our local government level. Right now, we are not getting it right. I've been to places today and I've seen a lot of things. Some I'll further investigate before, making public. But the reality is that even we as society are not truly properly prepared to make the state independent electoral commissions truly independent in how they discharge their duties. And in terms of saying that you've seen only one party, mostly, it is not for the absence of others. I live in Surulere. I know that other parties have also been doing campaigns. I've been to other local government as well. Yes, the flamboyance of one party in one area may be more than the rest that of others, because it's also a function of what resources is available to those who are contesting, to the political actors. So resources comes to play. But how can we make sure that our electoral process, we de-emphasize money, that we de-emphasize, the influence of incumbency and what have you?
Okay.
These are realities that we need to deal with.
All right, Mr. Adibuse, let me ask you, in response to what he has said. So the issue now is the state independent electoral commissions, and over time, that has been the position of many people who comment on the issue, that the state independent electoral commission seems to be appendages of the state governments. But if we don't test the system, how will we know that it's not different?
Absolutely. So, I think when we say it's appendage, we have to, a verse like that must prove on what basis, I'm not trying to defend.
But of course, you know that in most cases in states, once the Olokoaba political party is the one that is in control of the state, all local governments.
Yeah, but again, there's so many things. Like my brother Suleiman mentioned, the issue of incumbency is one of the issues. You rightly mentioned that generally go around, mainly is the posters of the candidate of the political party that we see everywhere. In fact, just maybe last Sunday, somebody came to our church there and I was outside bringing out his small cards he's running for councillor on another party, not the ruling party. That's the only thing I've ever seen of any other person, any other party. So it's not LASEC now that's going to, LASEC, they won't go to tell the parties to come up. It is the political parties that have to also come up. I mean, they may feel, again, that apathy is also there because they already feel, what are they going to do? No, but if they don't test the system, they cannot blame the Electoral Commission for that. In fact, we have Lagos Civil Society Partnership, we have people in the field right now, but it is something various LCDs at the moment. And some feedback we're getting from the group is that even LASEC has even tried to improve inclusive communications for persons with disabilities with sign language interpreters. So they are doing something, not that they're not doing anything, but the issue of trying to make the space more accessible for other political parties. The political parties themselves have to up their game. And one of the reasons why, which leads to what Leonard was saying, the issue of resources, because those who are incumbents, they have more access unfortunately, to resources. And again, that's why the executive have to come in. Executive in this case, people like the EFCC, ICPC, like you rightly mentioned, the funds that have come to local government the last year, now that there's supposed to be financial autonomy, there has to be, these are the investigations that they should make. Me and you cannot just go to local government and say, bring out your books. They can. And I think these are some of the things that, how they can implement that accountability. Because when that happens, then people will know that there are actually checks and balances. Right now, people feel that whatever they do, they'll get away with it. And I must say, in conclusion, that the elite, even now, could still go out to vote. Because if their votes don't count, why would politicians be paying 1,000, 2,000? I heard some elections now, 5,000, 10,000. It shows our votes count. So there's still time to go out. Please go out and vote, because we cannot continue to complain and not do anything about it. This is one thing we can do.
Comrade, you want to speak to what Mr. Arigov said?
Yes, you see, the political parties are not run based on manifestos again. There's still a lot of tendency to today. They can never become the tendency of Zik or Tafa Balewa, because the values they saw in AG, they hold it to today. The same thing till tomorrow. There are towns in Yoruba land, they remain MPN. It's the manifesto that they saw in the party that gives them the inspiration that no, MPN manifesto is good. Can you imagine a Republican in America who feels that when thief comes to your house, there should be casualty on both sides and must have access to gun? And the Democrat who felt that no, guns can't be in the hand of everybody. Or the Republican who felt that the welfare package of Democrats, there's something wrong with it. I cannot be working, you give welfare to somebody. Or Democrat who felt that all the fingers are not equal. So it's this value that drives people out to come and vote. And it's the missing link. And that's the area where INEC needs to work on. There must be a legislation where parties must be known for one particular ideology or the other. If I want to come out to vote, because in fairness to the people, based on what my learned friend has said, that if I don't see reason why I have to come out to vote, I will not come out to vote. And that's where it goes back to the elite that they have to champion it. That we need to see something in you. You need to tell us something. Because election is a celebration. It's a celebration where you want to offer your followers, if you get to power, A, B, C, D. I want to offer them. So they compare. You'll be happy about it that these are alternatives. That if I do this, I will get to this. So what we need to do is to encourage INEC the more. INEC has done well, like I said, that Chinese language. 100 million people over has registered to vote. Lagos has the highest number of registered voters. As a region, it's the south that has the least. Now, as a region, it's the northwest that has the highest voters in terms of registration. But why do we have this kind of number where it is only 800,000 that will determine the fate of 30 million people in Lagos? You can't blame anybody. It's a shared blame. I should blame who has the highest blame now. I should blame the political parties who do not have a program that will drive people out to come and vote. Though that's not the case in Lagos, so there's something to show for voting in Lagos. So. And the people themselves who will say that let them go and vote, whoever they put there. Then the following day, you start complaining about local government has just gotten the third one. I've seen polygamy is a crime, like us. We are polygamy. But that's not, you can't use that. You have to start condemning local government chairman that is a bad thing. So, in essence, what we are saying is that to make your country great, it's not about people in government. We are the supervisor. You must supervise your political parties to do the needful. You must supervise the guys in government to do the needful. And that is why I am saying that the befitting political structure for Nigeria is the direction we should be looking at.
Okay.
Befitting. Such that we will not be trying to make unworkable things work again. Local government chairman today, you have just given them certain certificate and they are going to abuse it. I'm expressing my expert opinion. In our own association, local government and public administration, the institute, we haven't done running battle. Who felt that Algon is right to say that you must have access to their fund? I said, no. There are ancestral lands in this country that the president has no business and don't know the history about it. A president will now come tomorrow and say, the road must pass through this place. That's wrong. A country is run by peculiarities.
Okay.
There are parties in UK. They are called the reigning lunatics. They contest election with the aim of losing woefully. They want to use that to prove a point that there's no crime in losing an election. There are parties that this is an ancestral home. They want to maintain the history of the culture, the value. They win it tomorrow. You now put it in the hand of the prime minister. He was going to rubbish it. So the path we are towing is dangerous. So.
Okay. Well,
as a political institution, it's dangerous.
The constitutional review, another constitutional review process is on.
I was there. It's a sham.
Okay. Already?
Yes, it's a sham.
Okay. All right. Dr. Shitu, I have this question for you. Forgive me if it sounds like a curveball. If we know that the local government level election is as important as it is, what are those things that you think need to be factored in to make it something that people have to come out for?
Yes, I think if you really want to serve, and politics is supposed to be defined by service, if your preoccupation is to serve, then there's nothing wrong in starting your crusade from the local government level. For instance, and the scramble for the Senate, the scramble for the presidency, the scramble for governorship. As an accountant, as a journalist, as a lawyer, as an engineer, or all kinds of professionals, we should make our services available.
No, what I'm asking, apologies, maybe let me rephrase. What reforms, in your opinion, do you think would help make the local government elections, particularly in Lagos, more competitive, more transparent, and more engaging for the public?
Well, we've mentioned some of the reforms. Beyond reforms, I think what we need to change if we want to make the local government more effective is our attitude. Attitude is everything. That's the first thing. Attitude that we we decide, you and I decide to make the local government system to work.
But we can't legislate attitude, can we?
No, but even if you legislate and you put laws in place, these laws will be run by human beings. You understand me? For instance, there are people who are saying that what is wrong with our country is the defect in our constitution, and that we need to have a brand new constitution. There's our advocacy. But what I've said so, but that yes, even if you have a brand new constitution, and we have people who don't have a democratic mindset running their affairs, it still doesn't add up to anything. So I think what we need to change is our democratic attitude. Attitude to know that because to run a democracy, you must be prepared to be a Democrat. Now, what I'm saying generally is that in terms of structure, in terms of funding, and all other things that make up the local government system, we need. There are people who believe, and I share that view, that what is wrong is not how our local government system is presently constituted, but the mindset of our people.
Everything.
Who run this local government?
The same thing Comrade said the other time about the people.
Yes.
But I'll still stay with you. Now that we know that it's a people issue.
Yes.
And you said something the other time that every society gets the kind of governance it deserves.
Yes.
Because you're probably putting it as something for our attitude. What can be done today? I know that you have been advocating. I'm not sure if there is anyone watching us right now who has decided to get out and go and vote simply because they have heard you speak and made an appeal to the elites. But what do you think can be done as we speak to make things better? Any better?
Well, if you want one word for it, political education, political education. Political education. I think that is a missing link. For instance, political education. And then those who are in charge of leadership positions at the various levels must be accountable. Must be accountable. You don't take people's resources and then use it to build private empires. What people see, part of the reason why people are reluctant is that they are disenchanted with the process. But the process of governance at various levels, how people just suddenly become millionaires or billionaires overnight at the expense of the people. The resources of the people must be applied for the people. We are talking of the Commonwealth. Democracy is supposed to be government of the people, by the people, for the people. Again, the issue of accessibility. Our leaders only patronize the people during the period of elections. They come out with all kinds of incentives to get the people's vote. Once they are elected, they are disenchanted from the people. Access of the people to them becomes like illusory. It should change. That should change. As leaders, they should know that they are primarily servants of the people. Servants of the people. You know what I'm talking about. If I want to see the governor of Lagos State, for instance, or if any citizen wants to see the governor of Lagos State, for instance, there should be a mechanism for easy access.
Okay.
But when you build around, government, too much bureaucracy, and the people cannot even access the leaders that they elect, then and then you see all kinds of opulence around government, whereas people are then called upon to make sacrifices. They see a disconnect. So I think government, those who are in government at various levels, must change the attitude. There must be a change in attitudinal chemistry.
Do you think it could be a good idea, Dr. Shitu, to have a minimum political education level for anyone who wants to get into political office? For instance, NIPS, the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies. Do you think it'll be a good idea for any aspiring leader to go to NIPS, that it has to be a qualification before your papers can be tendered?
Well, education is very important. Education is very important, but you'll be making a huge mistake to think that those who are not educated don't have ideas. You don't understand what I'm saying?
I get that, but I'm talking about look at the Constitution, for instance. It says all you need to do is attempt WAEC. But if we have something like NIPS, the National Institute for Policy and Strategic Studies, that's the kind of thing that I think anyone in government should. I don't know if you agree with, on that. That's something that's like, if you want to serve in government, attend an institution that is government owned, so that you can get this attitude, this mentality.
When you say basic qualification to participate in the political process, then you must agree on the parameters. I mean, for instance, to lead, to be a president, for instance, you must be equipped with certain fundamentals in terms of education. But to be a councillor, sometimes to be a councillor, what you may require is the degree of your empathy and accessibility to the people around. But what people are saying is that, who can we trust to deliver? Who can we entrust our destiny into his or her hands? At that level, local government, local district, it's a question of trust. But when you want to appoint somebody to go and represent Nigeria in the UK, for instance, you don't appoint somebody who doesn't have education. Yeah? I think maybe we may have to structure it in terms of levels of responsibilities. And then say, but to say that education alone, particularly the local government level, is the only criteria for you to assess power, then you might vote in somebody who's educated but a crook.
Interesting. Well, Comrade made a statement the other time, Mr. Adebuse, and Festus Akimboyewa seems to be agreeing with him. I don't know if you want to comment on this statement from Festus Akimboyewa, who says, local governments contribute immensely to UK's economy. Nigeria will not make good progress until we have strong, functional, and incorruptible local governments across Nigeria. Everybody agrees on that. It's the challenge of the process that we're dealing with here now. You've spoken quite a few times about the elites going out to vote and all of that, but when they see the names and the pictures of the people that they are supposed to vote for, they're wondering, why employ this person that I wouldn't even employ my own private business?
So that comes again why I said can't blame it. I say it's the political parties. Candidates have to come out, market themselves. What is it? It's just like you're applying for a job, and this is your resume, and this is what you want to do. That basic responsibility of the political parties and the candidates is key, and that's what is lacking so far. And again, I come back to the fact that we have not had this culture. Democratic culture has been truncated since '66, so we haven't had that culture since 1999. We've started trying to get it going. So now it's become clear that we need that culture. I disagree with NIPS, because until we find out whether those who went to NIPS, how have they done in the public space? Have they been less corrupt? Have they been efficient? And like Leonard Silk said, for the local government, and please, those who haven't gone out, please still go out to vote. There's many hours left, because it makes a lot of difference, even if your candidate doesn't win. But it shows that it will also keep them on their toes when they know that, wow, so there are other persons who could have won. And because one part of the challenge we face now is that many of the political leaders, especially at local government level, they are beholden to political party leaders. So they're not really so, beholden to the electorate. It's their party leaders first. And that's why the issue of accessibility or lack of, we've known some ward councillors who immediately they won elections, they moved out of their ward and built out somewhere else because they don't want to have that connection. Leonard Silk spoke about meeting governor. Forget about governor, even chairman local government. To meet the chairman of your local government, it's a big do. You can't just say you want to meet him, because there's a whole, bureaucracy around that. So when there's even that disconnect with those who are supposed to be close to you, then what can happen? And as you rightly said, the local governments are the building block.
But shouldn't the local government chairman be easily accessible. When I was living in a particular environment, and I think my local government chairman was living about a house or two away from me, and we were having electricity problems, I knew that it wasn't his job, but he was the closest to government that I had. So I went and banged on his door. I said, Oga, we don't have lights in this area. And all of that. Of course, it was not, as I said, I knew it's not his job, but he's the closest to government I know. So if I have concerns that I cannot address myself, I have employed him to be able to get that job done for me. I think that's one of the things that the elites should be able to take on. If you vote, you are part of the people who employed this fellow. If the fellow is not delivering, you can go barge on that person's door and say, do this or do that.
Since we are voting in Lagos today, I think we should give a little bit of what is going on, the way Lagos local government is run, compared to the rest of the country. You will agree with me that the country is in a big trouble, because the rest of the country seems to be very far away from what Lagos is doing at the moment. You say you can talk to your own local government chairman, maybe you live in Ogun or Lagos. That's not the case outside Lagos. The most accessible people even here in Lagos, in the country, seems to be local government chairman in Lagos. Because I did a comparison, a regional comparison, how local government operates in the north, in the east, in the south, and the west. Where we have to admit that we have done well in the southwest, and particularly in Lagos. And it is the reason why we have to also not limit our discussion to the rest of the country. That what we are discussing here is not only about Lagos, it's about the entire country. It's a challenge. And if we don't address local government challenge, because smaller laws, smaller challenge are the ones that grow up to become bigger challenge. Pickpockets, if it's not addressed, it become armed robbers, it become kidnappers. They start from pickpocket. And when there are no local police to curb smaller crimes, that's what magnifies and become a bigger crime. So in view of that, we must, like what my other colleagues have said, we have to redesign how local government can play their role more independently and have effect on the people. One, party program matters a lot. You see, it's a universal thing to create a very difficult entry requirement for people to become. No party will leave their own door open that come and contest. Then secondly, it is not wrong for a party member to depend on his senior for instructions. But what will the senior party member be relying on? Is the manifesto. Is the party's program that the Godfather will have as a Bible and Quran, that it will dictate to the governor or Mr. President, as the case may be. So these two key areas are very important, that there must be a manifesto, and that is why I agree with you with NIPS. It might not be NIPS. INEC has a role to play in educating elective officers that you can lose this election, you can win. You see, what should be your attitude when you lose election?
This issue of
it's
voter,
important.
This issue of voter.
Did you get my point?
I do get your point.
When you lose an election,
yes,
it's part of education to admit that I lost this election, and the country must not be brought down.
Yeah, I get that point. But this level of there are levels to voter education. There is the role for INEC, role for political parties, role for civil society organizations, role for government, and role for even the people themselves to speak to themselves. Mr. Aligwabu, let me ask you this question, and thank you for staying with us there. This conversation we are having, that report that you did, one has to commend it. But in the light of all of the conversations that we've been having here, what is the gap here? And there's something iconic in what everyone has said: the people. It is the people at the center of everything. The people are the ones voting. It's the people that are in LASIEC. It's the people that are contesting for elections. It's the people that are in opposition. And one wonders, if we were to take what Dr. Shitu said here, the level of political education, do you think we have it enough to be able to make significant impact in people's lives?
Actually, I must agree a lot with gentlemen in the studio that political education is lacking. political parties are not doing enough, to educate citizens, their voters, their members. But you see beyond this, and bringing it back to the ongoing exercise in Lagos, and also linking it with an important issue that have been raised in the studio, that is the constitutional review exercise that is ongoing. So part of the proposal for review in the Constitution is a section talking about internal party democracy, where they are proposing now that internal party democracy should be restricted to internal party mechanisms for resolution. That is, if I contest in the primaries of a party and I feel aggrieved, I can only explore internal party conflict resolution mechanisms within the party. I cannot go to court. Now that's problematic. There is also a proposal that, okay, when two persons contest an election and one person is declared winner and the other person feels aggrieved and approach the tribunal and is able to establish their case at the tribunal that indeed there has been a misplacement of justice, that the tribunal cannot right the wrong, can only at best call for a by-election. You see, these are some of the provisions that will further deepen mistrust in the process. These are some of the situations that will cause for people to resort to self-help. These are some of the things that will make people believe that the winner takes all and there's nothing they can do to effect change. So it is important. And also there are other reforms that needs to happen, which is part of your conversation in the studio. For instance, having gone around, I see that last year, indeed, in most of the places that I've been to and from the reports of my colleagues, they are not using, I've not seen BVN anywhere. Now you then ask yourself, all the progress we have made in terms of our electoral process, BVN stands out as one of the most significant reform that we have achieved that is helping the process. But it's not being deployed for local government elections. Yet, these local government elections rely on INEC registers, relies on INEC units and ward delineations. But we are not using the BVN that INEC has improved.
Mr. Arigwa, I apologize. I think you mean beavers.
Yes, pardon me. I think I'm broke. Maybe I need money. Yes, I mean beavers, please. The biometric voter accreditation system. It's not being deployed. So what we see in all the places we have gone to is manual checking. Now, you see, because I can come from the field and say things are going on well. Yes, indeed. Yes, the voters are not turning out enough. Maybe they still will. There's no sign of violence. Everything is cool and calm. But will all of that amount to saying that the integrity of this process is healthy? I think not. I think a lot of things needed to have been done before today by the State Independent Electoral Commission, in this case last year, by political parties, and also by the government. So a lot of these have not been in place. I've been to places, for instance, now, and we've seen that, okay, the people who are deployed as electoral officers, who is taking charge of their welfare? That's
another issue altogether. Someone has said that.
In Kubunere now, the weather has been clement, but I've gotten a report from maybe Eredo, for instance, that there has been rain this morning and that has disturbed the early starting up. So I'm looking at where I am now and I'm thinking, what if the rain starts now?
Okay.
Where are these people going to go to?
All right, let's have some corroboration. My apologies, Mr. Rugbabu. Let's have some corroboration of that or refutal of it from our correspondent, Olu Phillips, who is already who's been on the fields all day. Olu, so any latest? I'm sure you've been around a few places since we spoke. Oh dear. Well, I apologize, Olu. I can't hear you yet, but I will certainly come back to you. There's this report that we can quickly take to let you know what we've been doing all day.
It's local government election day. Empty roads, closed shops and barricades in compliance to the Lagos State government's restriction order. Lagosians are out early to exercise their civic rights to vote in their choice candidates at their various polling units. At St. Stephen Nursery and Primary School at Adinija, Lagos Island East, voting commences at exactly 8 a.m. Within the premises are 2 polling units, Ward 006 with 634 registered voters and Ward 007 with 667 registered voters. Ward 006 is the polling unit of the Lagos State Governor, Babajide Sanwo-Olu. Meanwhile, on the mainland, a mild drama plays out at the Ikosi Isheri LCDA, where presiding officers and election staff are unable to leave for their stations because of inadequate number of vehicles to transport them. Some LASIEC staff are seen struggling to get onto a bus. A few hang from the door. Other election officers, unable to get a vehicle, resort to trekking to their polling stations. Meanwhile, voting is also ongoing at the Gbajabiamila polling unit in Surulere local government area.
Well, we are normally, not because of the little crowd we have here, we are supposed to be on queue. And we follow that order, that queue order, one at a time. And at the same time, we are going to be giving preferences to some people.
Before voters cast their ballot, LASIK officials brief them on what's expected. As residents of Lagos State elect their new leadership at the local government level, entry into the state is at a standstill as security operatives barricade access routes, especially at the Berger axis. The local government election is taking place in 20 local government councils, as well as 37 local council development areas, where 57 chairmanship and 376 councillorship positions are up for grabs.
All right, so that's a summary of what's been going on all day. And Olu Phillips, I think we should be able to hear you well now. Give us an update. I know you've been around for a bit since we last spoke. Apologies, I couldn't hear you earlier. Go ahead now.
Am I good now? Can you hear me?
Absolutely, Olu, yes.
All right, brilliant. So we are around the Link Road into Festac area, where you call the Amuwo Dolphin. We're just some 50 meters away from where you popularly call Apple Junction. To my left is a polling unit, or what should be a polling unit. To my right is another polling unit. Can I tell you what? Can I tell Nigerians this? There are no LASIEC officials here up to this moment. No sign, nothing to show that voting is going to happen here. So far, there are no indications. And I've got a lot of people agitating here who wants to vote. Some party members, some ordinary Nigerians who just want to cast their civic responsibility by voting. They're not able to do that, and they won't let me go until they speak to my camera. So I'm going to just call one of them who has been agitating. What exactly is going on? What's going on?
It's crazy. There's no LASIK is not here. Nobody's coming out to vote. Everybody is scared. So when you came at first, I was like, I want to protect my people. And I'm sorry for that, for just attacking you and all that. I'm sorry. So respect to you, respect to the crew. Brother, I'm sorry, likewise. So what I want to say is that I want people to come outside and vote. Protect their vote. That's why we are here. So there's no way they can come outside. LASIK is not here.
Why do you think voters are scared of coming out here?
APC scared them. Voter suppression, they scared them. They scared them to hell. A lady came outside from this estate. She was like, why there's nobody here? This is that. She went inside back because of APC.
Just hang on. Let me also talk to someone who's wearing a badge. This is okay. You're party supervisor.
I'm the party chairman for this area, and I've gone around. It's very shameful for LASEC. All of this area, this is Labour Party stronghold. There is no LASEC official on ground. This is almost 12 o'clock in the morning, and there is no single LASEC officer on ground. This is Schofield area. There's a polling unit here. There's another polling unit here.
Those people standing, are they party members or who? No, those who want to vote?
They are voters over there. They are all
just all come over. Let's see your voters card. Can you just come? No, can you just come over, please? Let's just see your voters card. You want us to come to you? All right, we come to you. Let's go. Ayo, let's take the microphone to them. This is what we do. Let's go. Okay, you're a party agent. Is there any voter here who wants to vote? Oh, okay, brilliant. Come on, come along. Kilo Shale, hey, team votes. What's the problem? Can you tell us? I mean,
LASEC officers, they did not bring any ballot box here.
I don't know.
So we are still waiting. We'll be here since 7 o'clock. It's like we are not seeing any sign of them, and people are waiting to cast their votes, but they are not around.
That's the man waving his voters. Can I see your voter card? Have you voted? What's the challenge?
No, LASEC officials, nothing to vote. No ballot box. Single ballot box. Everywhere
7 o'clock. I'm PDP party agent. We're expecting the ballot box. Up to now, there's no ballot box. Definitely, there's no election here.
Ayo, there isn't so much I can say. The pictures and the videos say it all. And if officials from LASEC, if you need to do an ad hoc quick arrangement to send your staff to this area, based on what we are seeing here, I think that's the most, that's the least that could be done, so that these people do not feel disenfranchised. Ayo, can you re-echo this for us, please?
Well, definitely will happen, but if we're having this challenge at Amuodofin, Olu, I wonder what's happening in Ekpe, what's happening in Badagry right now. But thank you for your reporting. I know you'll give us more before in no distant future. But now, with this that you have said now, Olu, one wonders who we should be speaking to now. Actually maybe should even be speaking to the state governor. But hey, today he's just a voter himself. But we have a track of him at the polling booth.
All right, thank you very much. I would just imagine.
All the adult staff are on ground, to go to their polling unit, and they have all their materials. So it's not as if there's shortage of materials or anything. It's really just around ensuring that people get to their polling unit, on time. And I'm sure by now everybody should be there. We're also glad that we have, peaceful weather. So I expect that, the time we have used for people to express their civic rights, they will use it well, and everything will be done, conducted peacefully, and at the end of the day, want to commend the effort of LASEC. I saw one of their commissioners here. I also want to thank all the state equivalent of LASEC that have also come to watch and to observe, what we're doing here in Lagos. And I want to generally just commend all you gentlemen of the press. You have taken this very seriously as a national election, and we're indeed very, very happy that you've given it all the right reportage, you've given it all the coverage that is needed, because we believe that the grassroots, election is also very critical. The councillors and the chairmen are as important as other arms of government as well, and we need to be able to give them, that bit of space, and I want to commend all of you, and we believe that later in the day, they will be counted and results will be announced in the course of the day. So probably just go back home and watch.
I wonder what's going to happen now, because the governor has spoken, and about how many hours now? About almost 4 hours after the polls opened. That's the challenge we still have. Of course, don't also forget the report, the update that we gave you earlier of the logistic challenges, the first question that I asked Dr. Shitu. Now, Dr. Shitu, you were the first that I asked that question about the logistic challenges that started this whole conversation earlier. And to imagine that as far as Amuwodofi, maybe I should say as near as Amuwodofi, the issue, they don't have the polling units are not set up yet. What are the likely outcomes of this?
Well, this is a sad commentary on the integrity of the electoral process. Let us call it spade a spade. Now, if we say what we want to practice is democracy, and if we're organizing a democratic election, then there must be right of equal access. Yeah? No one should be disenfranchised. What is playing out there is a shame. And I think the leadership of the Lagos State Independent Electoral Commission have a lot of questions to answer. It doesn't matter whether you believe that a particular area is heavily populated by elements from the opposing political parties. Everybody must be given equal rights. I have my political leanings, for instance, and I'm not. It doesn't mean that democracy is giving even your opponents a fair chance of competition. You must not deliberately. Now, talking of Amuwodofi, it's not a rural setting. What is playing out there, in my view, is a deliberate attempt to disenfranchise certain people from exercising their right. And this is what we are talking about. When we talk of democracy, there must be right of equal access. You see, when you are dealing with your friends or those you perceive to be your enemies, you must give them equal opportunity of having a say. Okay. Now, if particular areas are not, towing your line, then you should extend democracy dividends to them. You should persuade them by the logic of superior ideas, not by trying to, disenfranchise them. Yeah. So I think as we speak, and like my colleague has been repeatedly advocating on this program, leadership of LASEC, they are watching.
They really have. They
should take material.
They have to respond. Okay. Well, Mr. Adebusoye,
and get people across the state to vote.
We have just about 2 minutes before we go. Yes. What will be your comment now on this matter? You've been advocating that elites should go out and vote, and then here we are.
Yeah. So at LASEC chairperson and all the leadership should ensure that everything goes out to all these polling units that have not been serviced immediately, and or extend the time that they can vote, because here we are talking about apathy, and now we see people who want to go out, and this is not very, very encouraging for especially Lagos State, that we always claim to be the center of excellence, and we do it right. We should not be afraid of anything. Let everything play out properly, and that will help the integrity of the elections and even give us better governance in Lagos State. Okay. So please, no fear.
I agree with my two other colleagues that LASEC should do something about it. I only have a slight deviation that is deliberate. This is 23 polling booths. You can't determine the integrity of an election. It's important that every aspect.
But you do realize that local government is 100% on its own. And if they do not get what they deserve, they have a reason to.
I don't disagree about that. Okay. But that there's an intention is what I disagree about. There might be others who have this kind of challenge, the APC areas. Are you saying APC is also working against them? And I know that as I was coming here today, I saw some areas, they are set to vote already. There are some areas that are completely empty, where I'm supposed to vote on Agidingbi. They were not there at that time I got there. Okay. Will I say that the APC working against APC?
But it's been 4 hours.
So don't interject. It won't help this discussion. It will not help this discussion. Let me make my point. So it will not be correct to say that is deliberate.
But comrade,
it's because it's concentrated with
4 hours.
Yeah.
And the roads.
I didn't disagree with the fact that something should not be done about that. Okay. I'm talking about intention.
But it's been 4 hours.
Yes. Logistics at times. I work as a logistics officer, and I know there might be challenges. It's not a banana. I know they're supposed to be there.
All right.
But the intention is to say blatantly that it is deliberate, will not be fair.
All right.
Mr.
Arigbabu, your comments on this suggestive, please.
Nobody's.
And inciting.
Just a second.
Suggestive and inciting.
Let me just clarify.
No, suggestive and inciting.
Nobody is saying.
No, it's suggestive and inciting.
No.
Just say that is deliberate.
Dr. Shitu, gentlemen. Mr. Shitu, beg your pardon. Mr. Arigbabu, please go ahead.
Yes, thank you very much. It's important to take note of the report from the field by your correspondent. And of course, these are the issues that at the end of the day, people are going to look at the frequency of such occurrence and then maybe try to make sense of whether there is a pattern or not. And of course, these are the things that will add up as ingredients to tell the quality of the integrity of this process. So I think that is important, and channels is a very important platform. You can call out to the chairman of LASEC that they need to address such occurrence as has just been reported, because if that is not done, you are going to have a situation where people are going to be building case to discredit even where things have been done properly.
Okay.
So it's important that it's addressed. And these are the things that will determine whether people continue to trust the electoral process or not. It's unfortunate that such things should happen, but I think there's still time, to address it. And I hope that this is not it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Sulaiman Arigbabu, Executive Secretary, Head Resource Center. We appreciate your time this morning on the program, as well as Comrade Razak Olukoba, Co-Convener, Committee for the Defense of People's Mandate. Thank you for your time.
Ẹ kú dédé àsìkò yìí, ẹ sì káàbọ̀ sórí ètò ọmọ Oòduà tó ń dé sójú ìwòran yín o láti iléeṣẹ́ ìkànnì Wo TV. Òdu ni wá, àwa kì í ṣàìmọ̀ fún lóko. A tún ti dé o sórí ètò bá a ti ṣe máa ń dé. Tó ètò ọ̀hún ló wá balẹ̀ báyìí bí ẹ kú àtàárọ̀ o, ẹ dẹ̀kú bí ètò ọ̀hún bó ṣe lọ. Ó dẹ̀ dá mi lójú pé ẹ ti rí ọ̀kan àbí méjì ń tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ gbọ́ àbí tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ rí, ẹ ti rí gbogbo ẹ̀ nínú ètò tòní. Tó ó kù tọjọ́ mi, àmọ́ kí n tó lẹ́jẹ̀ máa rán yín létí pé ètò tẹ́ ń wò ẹ máa bá mi like, ẹ máa share o, kẹ́ẹ̀dẹ̀ máa bá mi wá more subscription nítorí pé Wo TV ń gòkè àgbà. Ìrànlọ́wọ́ yín ni àti ìrànlọ́wọ́ Ọlọ́run Ọba. Títí wá dìgbà míì táwùjọ máa fojú níjú lórí ìkànnì pẹ̀lú àkọ́tún ètò míì tó tún gbọ́ngbọ́n. Àdìgbòlódò dọ́ra wọ ni mò ń jẹ́ o, ẹ ti mọ̀ mí lánàá kó tó dé ní, ẹ má jẹun forí kíkun, àmọ́ títí dìgbà míì ńkọ́, ẹ kú àtàárọ̀, ẹ kú iṣẹ́ ìní, ṣé kò rẹra jù, kédùmarè ó jí wa rí o.
Please note, views and opinions expressed in the course of this program do not represent that of Wo TV. Therefore, this channel is not liable to any legal action that may result from this program.